Hey guys, on the road, sorry about the AC and the audio. This is a big problem, and I think this could be directly related to the letter that I broke from Glock where they said they were in support of gun control. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, I'll link that video for you. You have to watch that. There's a lot of people talking about that video that I broke. Hey guys and gals, my name is Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news that you typically won't hear anywhere else. And today's story is a big one. We've got some news about a revolving door between government regulators and the anti-gun lobbyists, and how a longtime ATF official is now working hand in hand with Michael Bloomberg's Everytown for gun safety. Yeah, all right, that's, like I said, this is a big one. Marianna Mitchem, a former Associate Assistant Director of Field Operations at ATF, just jumped ship to Everytown for gun safety. And according to a former ATF insider, she's already using her connections inside the ATF to go after Glock pistols and Glock-style handguns. Now we're going to break this down, who she is, how she climbed the ranks at ATF, thank you, and what role she played in Biden's war on so-called ghost guns, and what her new position means to the fight to protect the Second Amendment. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, that red button below me, it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and let's dive into this here. Now, Marianna Mitchem, she started her career at ATF back in 2005. She wasn't a sworn special agent, meaning she wasn't out there enforcing federal gun laws with a badge and a gun. Instead, she worked as an industry operations investigator, or an IOI. I know several of those IOIs that are out there, and some of them are really good people. Some of them are anti-gun, and you'll hear more. Now, there are inspectors, these are inspectors who go door to door to gun shops and make sure that the books, the records, and inventory are all up to date and in compliance with ATF rules. Now, from there, she worked her way up. By 2011, she became a field supervisor. In 2014, she was put in charge of the industry operations for the Phoenix, Arizona Field Division. In 2017, she moved to Washington, D.C., becoming the Deputy Chief of Field Management Staff. In 2018, she was promoted to Chief in that division. In 2019, she became ATF's Deputy Chief of Staff, working directly under their director. And then by 2020, she was heading the Firearms and Explosives Industry Division. And her last title was the Associate Assistant Director of Field Operations for Industry Operations, a position she held from March of 24 until she left in May of this year in 2025. So in plain terms, she wasn't just some mid-level bureaucrat. She was in the inner circle of ATF leadership, and she had direct influence over national firearms policy. Now, here's where things get concerning. According to a former ATF senior official, someone who worked directly with her, Mitchem wasn't just a career bureaucrat. She was deeply anti-gun the entire time she was at ATF. Now, this official described her as smart, a good communicator, but very anti-gun. Those are his words. He also said she was a puppet of ATF Director Steven Dettelbach after Biden appointed him as director. She was his superstar, given expanded duties and responsibilities under the Biden administration. And what was her claim to fame inside ATF? Well, Mitchem was directly responsible for pushing through the frame and receiver rule targeting so-called ghost guns. And let's talk about that ghost gun crusade, because you're hearing a lot about it right now and you're going to hear more. But it reveals how far ATF went under her leadership, under her push. Mitchem was reportedly behind that database that the Biden administration used to inflate the number of unserialized firearms floating around the country. But here's the kicker. ATF counted firearms manufactured before 1968, even though Congress never required serial numbers on those. They also counted homemade firearms that are perfectly legal to build in most free states, and they don't require serialization. And even when a firearm simply had a serial number that cops couldn't find, scratched off or whatever, it got tossed into the ghost gun bucket. No verification, no checks, just throw it in the list. Now this meant thousands, maybe tens of thousands of completely legal firearms were wrongly classified as ghost guns, and it created a bloated, inaccurate database that even ATF insiders admitted wasn't reliable. But did that stop the Biden White House? Nope. They used Mitchem's database to push their narrative about an epidemic of ghost guns in America. And we reported on that a lot here on the channel in Biden's 4 years. Now, they paraded the numbers to Congress and to the media as justification on cracking down on law-abiding gun owners. So let's fast forward to May of 2025. Mitchem leaves ATF after 20 years on the inside. And then where does she land? At Everytown for Gun Safety, Michael Bloomberg's flagship gun control organization. And according to that same ATF insider, she hasn't wasted any time. She's already been reaching back out to her former colleagues at ATF, trying to coordinate efforts to target Glock pistols and Glock-style handguns, which is why I think it was one of the reasons that Glock sent the letter they did, even though that letter, there's parts of it that are really bad. Now think about that. A former top ATF official, someone who had access to every bit of internal policy and data, now directly working with one of the most powerful anti-gun lobby groups in the country, one of the most well-funded. And this isn't just a career move, this is the weaponization of inside knowledge against the Second Amendment. Now, this is a revolving door in action. We've seen it before in politics and in big business. People go from regulators or governors or congressmen and lobbyists, and then they go back and forth and switch back and forth. But in this case, the stakes are even higher because it's about our constitutional rights. And Bloomberg's Everytown is already, like I said, one of the most well-funded anti-gun groups in the country, and now they've got someone on the inside who knows exactly how ATF operates, how compliance inspections work, how databases are structured and fluffed, and where the pressure points really are. And she's reportedly using all of that knowledge to help target the most popular handgun platform in the country and possibly the world. I want to thank my buddy Lee Williams, the gun writer. He's been all over this. I think he was the first one to put this information out. Lee, you're crushing it, dude. According to him, attempts to contact Mitchem have gone nowhere. Her phone is disconnected, and Everytown didn't return calls, emails, or texts. So they're not talking, which in itself should raise eyebrows. So what should we take away from this? Well, number one, Everytown is playing a long game. That's obvious. They aren't just lobbying politicians, they're pulling people straight out of agencies that regulate firearms and using them as weapons against us. Number two, ATF under Dettelbach was already compromised, and Mitchell wasn't a lone wolf. She was a superstar. That's the word they use, a superstar, in a system designed to expand federal overreach into your gun safe. Number three, they're targeting specific firearms now. If Glocks are in the crosshairs today, what's next? ARs, we already know that. Hunting rifles, shotguns. History tells us nothing is off the table. You can't have it. You're not getting them. And here's the silver lining. That former ATF senior official said that with Mitchem now gone, only one anti-gun senior official is left at ATF. And that means her departure might actually weaken the anti-gun leadership inside the agency. I can't verify that, but if somebody on the inside says that, then we'll take it with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, this is why we have to stay engaged. We have to stay vocal. We have to stay active. Bloomberg, his money, and his allies are pouring in millions into the fight against us at the Second Amendment. And they're not just fighting from the outside anymore. They've got planted operatives who know the system from the inside. So what's your thoughts on this, guys and gals? I think this is why our support matters even more. Support the groups that support us. Please share this video, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and then let people know exactly what's happening behind the curtain. I try to bring you news every single day. During the week, I'll do it 2 times a day minimum, so check back often. I love y'all. Remember, as always, stay safe, stay vigilant, stay free. God bless you, and God bless America. I'll see you in the next one.